Part 3 of my little story, all parts down below. I filed the paperwork at the courthouse for the restraining order today. I also spoke with his direct supervisor in the military. He showed serious concern and referred me his commanding officer at headquarters. I am finished playing around. I've tried so hard to be a nice guy and gone out of my way to handle this quietly. It's not working. And I'm sick of being the victim. I dropped the bomb. He would not desist. She would not break it off. I did everything humanly possible to get them to stop this affair. Even if it was just until we were officially divorced, if that's where this was leading. I offered her the opportunity to just leave, that if that's what she wanted, start a life with him. She said she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't to leave, but she didn't want to break things off. As I mentioned, I had filed a restraining order a week ago. I didn't update that it was denied and he had not yet done anything physically. But the paperwork was filed. So, I contacted his commanding officer. I told him everything. I told him I just wanted this person to leave my family alone. He had promised he wouldn't, broke his promise multiple times. He had threatened me, was willfully and aggressively manipulating my wife. His commanding officer was very receptive and showed genuine concern. I emailed him all of the documentation that he requested. His commanding officer informed me he was calling him in and issuing a military restraining order on him. That he would be informed that he was not to come near me, my wife or my son. A few minutes later, OM calls me from my wife's phone and threatens me for calling his commanding officer. I immediately called his sergeant back and told him he did this, that he was terrorizing me. I called my wife a half hour later and asked, "How could you let your boyfriend call your husband from your phone and threaten me?" She told me she didn't. She is not with him. He somehow has access to or the technology to call using another number. I do believe her. She said he has done it before. Called and another number appears on the caller ID. I only believe her because she is at work, verified, and unless he was there. Can't be, she works at a school. My wife told me, again, today she is done, she is not talking to him anymore. So maybe she is trying to break it off with him. I don't know. So anyway, aside from everything I have posted in this thread already, there's the update. Drop bomb, psycho unstable OM is terrorizing me from wife's phone number. Commanding officer is issuing a military restraining order against him. But he transferred here. Had been out of state, country, to be close to my W and pursue affair with her further. So, he's close enough to do something stupid, but Fog W still says he won't do anything. I'm genuinely concerned for my family's safety now. Home life hasn't improved. I have continued to work on me. Between the last two updates, things had not improved at all, actually. The opposite, W and Other Man were continuing the A. Other Man was ratcheting up the pressure on her to file. She had outright refused to stop committing adultery and end contact with him. I told her all I wanted her to do was stop disrespecting me, my son, our marriage and our home, and end contact with him while we were married. She said, "That's not going to happen. I'm going to keep talking with him anytime I want to." The bomb was dropped yesterday, no way to know what the aftermath will be. She acted completely unfazed last night, not crying, not upset. Nothing. She did say at one point, "When I will stop talking to him," and asked me if I was going to keep holding this over her head and would do the same thing with any man she chooses to be with, including him, if we ended up getting a divorce. Don't think the other man can pressure her much more now. I spoke with the commanding officer again this morning. They did issue a military protective order against him. He is not permitted to contact me, my W, or our child. The order is indefinite. The order includes through a third person, text, email, etc. If he's smart, he will back off and I get to go through the hell of my wife's third bout of withdrawal, which I am not looking forward to. The first two withdrawal stages I endured before she broke down and contacted him, or he contacted her again, were unreal. Nothing short of dealing with someone that is possessed by some sort of demon, pure hate, anger, venom. As far as the things you have suggested, I am doing them all and will continue. I am being strong for my family. I am not wavering. She has not filed to my knowledge. I suspect she is thinking about it. Maybe she has. I don't know. She has surrounded herself with a support group of all the wrong people. Dark side. I'm certain they are filling her head with all kinds of crap, scheming, planning, etc. So, I'm sure wheels are turning and things are moving in the background. Her thoughts are so far fogged, and she's reinforcing those thoughts with support from the dark side. So hard to tell what happens from here. I can only control myself. And I am. The rest is in God's hands. If I need to take action, or I'm forced to take it, I will. Until that happens, I'm just praying for more strength to keep fighting. Other man's commanding officer said that I would have a signed copy of the military protection order mailed to me by next week. I will take that and all the additional information back and reapply. I text W this morning and I told her, for better or worse, I still love you. Her reply then, why are you making my life so difficult? Her parents blame me. No way their little girl could have ever done such a thing. Must be my fault. They say maybe it's best we just move on. Do not take responsibility. Blame someone else. Sweep it under the carpet quickly. Move on. Friends, most of our real friends have tried to help and make her understand what she's doing and that it is wrong. She avoids them, plays poor me card, and shuts out everything they say except the tiny pieces of what they say that she wants to hear. Surrounds herself largely with the dark side people, other man friends, sympathizers. Or less haters, who don't know everything or they know and think it's all my fault. With my 3-year-old on her lap, she called me every name in the book, taunted me, threatened me, and said more incredibly hurtful things. I can't seem to shake that. Multiple times later this weekend, when I approached him, he ran to her screaming, "No, mommy, no," and hugged her leg, acting like he was scared of me or something. To date, she absolutely refuses to accept any responsibility for the impact this has already had on our child. He is very smart. And the impact is showing big time in his behavior. She ignores it and refuses to believe her affair and behavior is causing damage that may be impossible to fix. I have been reading books and had her order some DVDs on child behavior so I can try to deal with how this is impacting him. She insists he doesn't know anything, when she has accepted, has to. His behavior cannot be ignored, that this is affecting him. She blames me for that too, saying if I would have just walked away and left them, he would be okay. I'm forcing him to deal with his mommy being unhappy because I won't go away. I just realized my wife unfriended me on Facebook, lol. I suspect communication has become much less frequent, but they are finding a way. I sense that he is not truly gone, he is probably just manipulating the situation. Hard to tell what happens in the fantasy land they live in. It's mind-boggling, while I'm being forced to deal with them. This reality. I'm trying to keep my head out of fog land as best possible. It's a crazy, creepy place. Funny, he actually convinced her that I am harassing him and that the protection order the military put on him is to protect him from me. Only so much I can do. I can't force her to get her head out of her back, and I'm done being consumed by this. She can do whatever she wants to do. I'm going to continue doing the best I can for myself and my son. I have a lawyer and have spoken with a few others. I understand my legal position pretty well. The OM will be blocked from any exposure to my son. I will spare no one to protect him from that happening. The challenge legally is simple. Money. I have the legal grounds to push the envelope. Just a matter of money. I asked a while back how someone could do Plan B and stay under the same roof. Seems impossible. I cannot leave. She will not leave. I would have taken the route before this because this is crazy and I want to be away from it. But I distance myself from it. I'm also distancing myself from my son. I will not leave him in this situation. He cannot fend for himself. He needs me more than ever. I'm the only one in this situation that doesn't have my head up my back in fantasy land. And I seem to be the only one who is doing anything to protect him. Everyone else has the attitude, oh, he will be fine. No, he won't. No, he isn't. I just got a call from the U.S. military. It was their attorney, investigator. They are taking this very seriously. I have to meet with them in person for an interview. The certified military protection order was mailed today. To what ends? Legally it doesn't benefit me. In a no-fault state, infidelity is meaningless. Mentally and emotionally. It tears me up. I don't want to snoop. I don't like to snoop. I hate the way I feel about all of it. It is very consuming to dive so deep into the foggy rabbit hole. I'm trying to keep my sanity through this madness. I know what is going on. I don't think the facts are in dispute with what I know, and the people that she is convincing otherwise would probably just twist it further or deny it regardless of evidence. I can't spend my life chasing and trying to convince other people. They will believe what they want, and I will go crazy if I stay in their rabbit hole longer than I have to. 99% of the communication is through her iPhone. I have no access to it or ability to install anything on it even if I wanted to. When I see she is getting text messages from friends of hers that are also other man friends. Other man has traveled in the same group of friends as my W for a long time. I suspect that they could be relaying messages from other man. One in particular who, her best friend of sorts, I haven't been able to separate her from the man-hater from hell. And is a train wreck of a person. Is good friends and a sympathizer of other man, and has made it clear she hates me and holds me responsible for everything my wife is doing and thinks my W should be doing these things. Anyway, my W has become very paranoid, I'm sure between train wreck BFF. I mentioned another man she is being puppet-stringed and is extremely careful how and when she communicates with other man. Will not call, text from her phone, home phone, etc. Doesn't use CPU. Other man has already shown that he uses disposable phones and caller ID spoofing, so numbers that appear on caller ID are not numbers actually calling. W's parents suddenly had internet installed at their house. She is there every day to pick up son and generally stays there several hours a day, every day. So anyway, they have gone to great length to find ways to trick everyone. With the MPO I got put on him, and the pending meeting with military legal counsel, I suspect that is my best way of shutting this down. If they choose to keep trying and they slip up and I find evidence of it, they know the consequences. I will be watching. Update. Well, for the last week it's been pretty standard massive mood swings and the gambit of tactics from the W, ranging from more blame, assaulting and anger to indifference to sweet and calm attempts at manipulation. I think the hardest thing I've had to deal with is not talking to her or attempting to reason with her about the ridiculous things she has said and the various stances she had taken. I got the full brunt: anger, intimidation, threat, insult, speeches. I took away her friend, and she could never be married to someone so malicious and someone so cowardly to bring his job into it. That didn't work, so it moved to threats. I warned you not to bring his job into it. Now you've pissed me off with all kinds of veiled threats, and now you're going to pay statements. Yesterday I had the meeting with the investigator from the military. I told him the entire story and gave him evidence to confirm all of my claims. He assured me that what I had presented him with was more than enough to convince him that the other man had committed a breach of conduct. That this behavior was inappropriate and he had more than crossed the line. They are moving forward with disciplinary action. Next, he is going to interview my W and the other man. That should be fun, as I'm sure they will fog up the story, lie, deflect, deny and continue this craziness. How much easier would it be to just come clean? Tell the truth, accept responsibility and move forward. They just keep digging deeper and deeper holes. It's just shocking how far they are going and have gone to rewrite everything and continue this affair. So last night after the meeting, which my W doesn't know about, W is calm and asks me to talk about us. I told her I would not talk to her again if she was going to go crazy and start insulting and attacking me again. In a thumbnail, she tries the nice, calm, rational approach and says she doesn't want to involve lawyers and we should be able to figure out the terms of a divorce together. She is unhappy and wants out. I told her what I have continued to tell her: if you want out, leave. You are choosing to leave this family. I am not making that choice. You will not take my son, and you are leaving our family home. She tried every angle possible to convince me I should give her the house. Guilt, manipulation. Will it make you feel like a real man to kick your wife and son out on the street with nowhere to go? Well, if I'm leaving, I'm taking half of everything. Funny, 90% of everything, furnishings, are mine. But, I said, okay. If that's what you want, it's just stuff. Obviously. I didn't bite on any of her crap. She has her parents' home, 4 bedrooms, less than a mile away. Other man has offered to get her an apartment, anyway. That went on and on. I held my ground, stayed calm and firm, so the process continues. Quick update. The day after I spoke with the investigator, my wife must have spoken with him too. I knew that he was going to meet with her. She didn't mention it, actually. The day she spoke with him, she told me she was somewhere else. That night I guess I should have realized it. She tried to sit down next to me and had a look of guilt on her face. Same exact look she gets every time she contacts other man and feels bad about it. Asked her if she wanted to talk. She didn't. I didn't bother pushing. I suspect based on her brief look of guilt. Shame that she lied through her teeth. I really have no way of knowing what was said. I spoke with the investigator again Thursday and asked if there was anything else he needed from me and asked why I hadn't gotten a copy of the MPO, which I was told had been mailed. He was brief and said an error caused a delay and that it was mailed that day. But I still haven't seen it. This weekend was more of the same from the wife. Unprovoked anger, irritation, being mean, cold shoulders, etc. We went to a Super Bowl party she wanted to go to. to visit with old friends, good friends and wives, all of whom knew about the affair and tried to be supportive of our family and tried to talk with her. All of whom she didn't listen to or lied to, repainted the story. W was distant and quiet, and said she felt sick so she wanted to leave. We had to leave before the start of the game. At one point I saw her talking to one of the wives, all teary-eyed and crying. Who knows what she was talking about? I asked why she was crying, said she felt sick. Really don't know why I bother asking her anything. I know she is still communicating with him. I guess I have to wait and see what happens with the military thing. Was told something would happen this week. I had a real good cry at church this week. I needed that. Thought I would add some levels of screwed up that have happened that I didn't mention. Anyway, a few weeks ago, my W confided in my sister that other man sent my 3-year-old a Christmas present. He apparently sent it through someone else so I wouldn't know who it came from or what it was. I mean, really? What kind of monster does something like that? When the MPO was issued, my W defriended other man on Facebook, or vice versa. Likely to hide continued and give appearance communication had stopped, so other man changed his profile pic from a pic of him in military uniform to a pic of him oiled up, with his shirt off, flexing his muscles under some sort of romantic mood lighting. Seriously creepy pic. Obviously knows W would look at his page and wanted her to see him looking sexy. Got a notification on my door today for a registered piece of mail waiting at the post office. It's the signed MPO. Military guy said we would need to sign for it when it arrived. Must be it. That's good news. Last night W asked me if I would watch my son later this month while she goes with a friend out of town. Happens to be going the same town other man is in right now. Couple hours away. She acted stupid, like she had no idea why I would be hesitant to agree, and I seemed mad about the idea of her going to stay for a weekend in same place other man is at. W claims she hasn't spoken with other man at all since I got MPO put on him. Gut feeling equal lie. Told her. I didn't believe her, and why should I? She said I wouldn't take a chance of getting him in trouble. She said she didn't need my permission. She was just telling me and wanted to know if I would watch my son. Said I put the delivery notice on the counter at home. She picked it up, realized it was a registered letter, and said she was going to get it. One was in my name, wasn't going to let that happen. I suspect they attempted to deliver another one she signed for and threw away, so we went and got them. She read it cover to cover and said nothing. Seemed irritable though, still claims there has been no contact. It's next to impossible not to make judgmental statements to her when she does, says things that are crazy. As I mentioned, I have been trying to shield my son from some of this and have been watching behavior modification systems, programs to try and help soften the obvious impact this is having on him. She continues to undermine my efforts. I mentioned this to her right after she did it again. She says, angry, in front of him, "You know what? Fuck you." I couldn't help my response. I said, "Nice job, supermom. Go ahead and insult his father and continue to put me down in front of our child." Anyway, after he was out of the room, Beth, I told her she could say anything she wanted to me, call me anything she wanted, and hold on to this anger as long as she wanted. But she would not continue to do it in front of our child. Again, this would have never happened. I wouldn't be this person or done any of these things if you hadn't made me lonely. Same circular conversation. She is tired of me playing the good parent and making her feel like the bad parent who is destroying her child. Blah. Blah, blah. He doesn't know anything. He can't understand. I'm not doing anything to him. I let her calm down after the usual rant. She says, "I'm sorry, I can't help it." Status quo. Anyway, same crap, again. Trip out of town. As far as I know, she still plans on going. I have until last weekend in Feb to decide what I'm going to do about it. Plan A, let her gather evidence. Bury OM. Plan B, wait until day or two before, call friend she's going with. Expose and explain that I will have her suspended to testify if there is contact. Comments. 1. Pack her luggage now. I mean, take time off work and go pack it right now. And call her sister or mother. Tell them she is continuing the affair, will not quit, and they need to come get her because you will not accept adultery in front of the child. She won't be able to say you threw her into the streets because she's going to her family and does have a place to stay. Let them see how she's behaving for a while. 2. If she absolutely will not leave, find a place that is suitable for you and your child, in the child's school district or daycare area, that has a place where your child would have their own room and their own things. and take active steps to move with the child if the home is in both of your names. You would not lose your claim to the proceeds if it were to sell. And you didn't abandon the child, you moved the child away from harm. Once you are moved out, you work out a plan that would keep the house out of foreclosure but still allow her to experience the consequences of her choices. Take a small bit of time and then propose a reasonable visitation and way to pay bills. The operative word there is reasonable. Her idea of reasonable is to continue the affair, keep the house and child, and you pay for everything, but we all know that is unrealistic. Let her have the house. Then she's free to pursue other guy until he's court-martialed for all you care. You and your child will be free to carry on your lives in some peace. Yes, I realize it will be a big adjustment. Yes, I realize you'll have to make arrangements for before and after school care or transportation, but single moms do it every day. And you are every bit the parent any mother could be. You at least have the best interests of the child at heart rather than solely pursuing your selfish desires to the harm of innocence. So those are 2 ideas to start. Do we need more, or will one of those work for you? Pre-divorce, 50-50 essentially. It's just a matter of money after that. I am confident that I have the leverage to get the better end of that split. There really is no question that my W has not had his best interests in mind and has clearly shown exactly that. I have no interest in separating my W from my son, full custody. She does adore him. And he is Mama's boy. I only want the ability to make the decisions that I feel are in his best interest. OP update. Been quiet because there had been nothing significant to report. On my side, everything is the same. I work on myself tirelessly, making myself a better, stronger person for my son and myself. This hasn't had anything to do with her for a long time now. I do this for me and for my son. I'm happy to do it, and this is who I am. I heard from the military yesterday, based on the strict guidelines of the military code of conduct. Like adultery, there is nothing they can do to. They are aware of his conduct and agree it is unfitting behavior. He has been under the military protective order this entire time, which prohibits him from contacting my W. I was told that will stay in place until a divorce is finalized. That is all they can do unless I provide proof that contact continues. It is obviously, I'm certain of that. Proof, on the other hand, is impossible to get. They have been using third parties and various other methods to stay in contact, none of which I can access or prove. By some strange coincidence, after I spoke with the military yesterday about the final ruling, my wife talked to me last night about the fact that she has begun filing the paperwork for a divorce. So here I am. I do not want to be married to this woman, and there is no possibility that I could forgive what she has done. The person she has become is repulsive. Not the act itself. Mistakes happen. I understand that and have been willing to forgive and work through it for my son's sake, and my personal internal commitment to my idea of what being a good husband and father means. I believe love is an action, and commitment is not halfway. They say adversity reveals true character. Well, I've seen enough. I deserve better. But I still stand with the problem. I'm not sure how I can prevent my son from being exposed to this crap. Everything else I could personally care less about. All of the people around her she has snowed into believing the picture she has painted, that it's all my fault that she's a cheater or she's not really cheating, and that our pending divorce is somehow not the result of her 2-year affair and desire to be with the other man. It's about me. Well, I don't care about them or what they think, but I'm still stuck. Don't want my child exposed to this situation. The fallout is going to be ridiculous. What do I do? I'm not interested in letting her experience the consequences of her decisions at the expense of my child's quality of life or his development. Little man is only 3 years old. The things that have been happening and will now intensify as a result of the pending divorce will impact him more than possibly any other event in his life. He needs me. He needs me there. I have been actively and aggressively doing everything in my power to soften the impact of his mother's actions and choices and what they are doing and will continue to do to him. I will not back off. If my pain and her being allowed to fog the people around her means that he somehow avoids worst-case scenarios, I will throw myself on top of that grenade. Every day. All day. My W is a selfish, shallow, weak person. She is making choices based on what she wants and needs and has no regard for or chooses to deny the impact of what it is doing to our child. She is not going to wake up and realize suddenly what she is doing to him. And I am not interested in saying I told you so 10 years from now. He must be protected. I am the only person in his life that doesn't have my head up my back. I can't abandon him now. I won't. He may never know it. And I will never need credit for it, but if being my son's hero means I sacrifice my pride and take the bullets, I will stand tall. The people she has surrounded herself with are people I do not know all that well, and she has been able to spoon-feed whatever story she has concocted. In order for me to inform them, I would certainly have to put it on a billboard or go out of my way to contact them. They are not my friends and will never be my friends. In order for me to shed light on the truth, I will absolutely have to drag her through the mud. I never intended on doing that. So I didn't expose past the circle of our closest friends, whom she has withdrawn from. After that happened, she started developing new allegiances with people and older friends I don't know and co-friends of the OM. I don't want to save the marriage. It obviously can't be saved. I don't want to get screwed over, but I also hesitate to waste a truckload of money I don't really have, and what I have access to I will need for the new expenses I will incur. So, spending a bunch of money on attorneys, who from what I understand will have a limited effect on the big picture outcome when weighed against the cost. I need to ensure or do my best to limit any exposure my child will have to the OM. My W seems to be willing to play nice about the terms of divorce, suggesting it's possible she walks away from our house and is willing to split possessions 50-50. She says the terms of what she proposes will be outlined in the divorce paperwork, which I'm supposed to be getting soon. Figured I'd take a look then see, but I think, no, she's become a selfish, lying, scheming, greedy person, and I doubt when it all shakes out she will play nice on my terms, despite knowing that she is wrong, trying desperately to stay enlightened about this. Truth is, right now I don't give a crap what any of them think. I know what she has done. And I know what I have done as a father and husband to save my marriage and family. She needs them to approve of her actions, and to get that approval she lies and rebuilds the truth to suit her story. I don't need them to believe anything I say. I haven't lied about anything. God knows my intentions have remained pure and my heart has stayed true, and that part has been tough. I have to believe that I will earn the profit of that somewhere down the line. I'm done with this sickening dysfunction. I won't get sucked into it any further. I tell the truth, she rebuilds it, then lies again and again. Then cries poor her. The amount of energy this woman spends on her campaign to convince people of her foggy reality is dumbfounding. I have no interest. I can't win if winning means I have to drop down to this pathetic reality with them. It's been a sick process. I have to believe that they will earn the karma of that somewhere down the line. Half a year later, and so it ends. Just got back from the courthouse. I'm divorced. Don't know how I feel. All things considered, better than I may have expected given the black hole of depression and fear that consumed me for so long during the initial stages of the affair. It dawned on me that I completely shut down all updates half a year ago once I reached the point when I had both feet under me and the strength to put away my denial and move forward. The tools and advice that I got, along with the strength of knowing I had not alone, helped me immeasurably. I am a better man and a better person as a result of your support. Each of your stories and all of the wisdom shared has given me strength to not just endure, but to grow. I have true 50-50 joint custody of my son, exactly what I wanted. I kept my home, hell of a fight for that one. I pay nothing, no child support, alimony, no assistance with her bankruptcy, debts. I have clear eyes and a full heart. I could honestly tell my son that Daddy did the best he could do. My comment. I worked hard finishing up this story. Hope you guys enjoyed this good ending. Although it lacked a small update before the final divorce. But OP just had to gather himself for the final move. What do you think? Comment down below. Sub and bell and